Hey guys, today I'm going to share with you how to make Salisbury Steak Meatballs. So Father's Day is just around the corner, and in the last video I showed you guys how to make a marinated skirt steak with 2 different sauces. But today I wanted to share with you another recipe that my hubby truly loves, and that's Salisbury Steak Meatballs. And it's a fun twist on the traditional recipe. We're gonna go ahead and bake up the meatballs and smother it in a delicious gravy. And this really is the ultimate simple and delicious comfort food. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on our meatball mixture. And in this large mixing bowl, I have 1.5 pounds of ground beef. And to that, I'm gonna add half a grated onion. And what you want to do is just go ahead and take your box grater and just grate up an onion, but make sure to watch your fingers. And now I'm going to add 1 beaten egg, half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. Well, you could use regular breadcrumbs. I normally always use panko. Use whatever breadcrumbs you like. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. And then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And I know there's a lot of ways to pronounce this sauce. I say Worcestershire. I know my family used to say Lee & Perrins, but that's the brand. But anyways, yes, 2 tablespoons of this sauce. And then last but not least, 1.25 teaspoons of salt and a half teaspoon of pepper. Make sure it's all in there. And using my best utensils, I'm gonna go ahead and mix until it's well combined. And just like with any meatball recipe, you don't wanna overmix because the meatballs will become hard and dense. You wanna just lightly mix them so that they come out nice and tender. I have to admit that I've been obsessed with making meatballs lately, especially using this baking method where I bake them and then add them to the sauce. It just makes life a lot more easier. I know standing over a stove and turning, plus they come out perfectly tender. And who doesn't love a good meatball? Now I'm gonna go ahead and take some of the mixture and I'm gonna roll them into about 1.5 inch sized meatballs. About this big. And I'll end up with about 18 meatballs. I've been making Salisbury meatballs for quite a while now. It's one of my favorite recipes to make. My family always loves it when I make it for them around the holidays. And this meatball version, I really do love because usually with family gatherings, there's like a variety of food. And instead of having to commit to like 1 large burger patty, you can take a couple meatballs and still enjoy the other foods at the party. Okay, so I've successfully formed 18 meatballs. If you have more or less, that's totally fine. I mean, no one's gonna come and count your meatballs. But anyways, I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees and we're gonna bake these until they're completely cooked through. That'll take about 20 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and make the gravy. For the mushroom gravy, I have an 8-ounce container of mushrooms and I'm gonna go ahead and slice them up. My hubby and I do love mushrooms, but if you're not a fan of mushrooms, feel free to leave them out. Before I head over to the stove to make the gravy, I'm gonna go over a few other ingredients that we're gonna be needing, and that's some butter, some minced garlic, some flour, some beef broth, and I'm gonna add some soy sauce, which is not a traditional ingredient for Salisbury steak. I'm gonna add about 1 to 2 tablespoons full, and it's gonna add some flavor and some nice color. So we are ready to make our gravy. Meet me over at the stove. I have my pan heated over medium heat and I'm gonna melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Once the butter has melted, I'm gonna go ahead and sauté the mushrooms that we sliced up earlier. I'm also going to add in 3 minced garlic cloves. And I'm gonna cook this down until the mushrooms have softened. This will take about 4 to 5 minutes. Also, I just want to take a moment to let you know if you are new on here, please like and subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to share simple and delicious recipes with you guys, and that will definitely help me out.
I've seasoned the mushrooms with a little bit of salt and pepper, and it is looking good, and we are ready to move forward with our gravy. Now I'm going to sprinkle in 3 tablespoons of flour. And I'm going to cook the flour down for about a minute or so. I just want to cook it until I no longer see white powder. In increments, I'm going to slowly stir in 2 cups of beef broth. And I'm doing this gradually because we don't want any lumps in our gravy. We want our gravy to be nice and smooth when it all comes together, and it's so delicious over some mashed potatoes or some brown or white rice. I'm also going to add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and this is going to give it some great flavor along with this beautiful caramel color. I'm going to bring everything to a boil, and then I'm going to continue to cook over medium heat for about 3 minutes until our gravy is nice and thickened. It is looking good. I've just pulled our meatballs out of the oven, and I'm ready to add them to our gravy. So when you bake meatballs, usually there's this like ring of fat around the bottom of the meatball. And what I do is take a napkin and just wipe the meatball down from the fat and then add it to the pan. Also, while I'm adding the meatballs, I turn the heat all the way down to low. Once I've added them all in, I'm gonna go ahead and let them simmer for a few more minutes. I'm also gonna spoon some of this delicious gravy over each meatball, and I know my hubby's gonna be so happy because he loves any type of meat smothered in gravy. My dad actually came over for dinner when I made this, and he raved about how good this was. And if you guys want the full written recipe, you can find it in the description below.
Okay, it's time for the taste test. And this is looking so delicious and comforting because I'm gonna need some comfort food right now. I'm like cutting into this meatball and it's super duper tender. Oh my gosh, it is looking so good. The gravy is thick. Look, so yummy. Anyways, cheers you guys. Oh my goodness, now this is a good meatball. Make it for your hubby, your son, your dad, family member, friend, whoever. They're gonna be happy. It's so delicious. Oh, you just have to give this recipe a try. If you guys enjoyed this video, give me a like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.